Okay, everyone, welcome to the main event 119. And we're talking about AI education today. We've actually got a group of people that are teaching at different levels and different types of subjects that they're teaching. And we wanted to hear what they were doing and how their students were reacting. We're going to be doing that today. Before we do, we always talk about the news. There's only one thing in the news this week, and that is Midjourney video, Midjourney video, Midjourney video. Everybody is trying things, and I've put four different videos in the comment section of the event today. One is Manuela Sissa did a very nice demo. Tridib Ghosh's video, well, his posting is well worth looking at because he goes into details about what you can do and how you'd go about doing it and all that sort of thing. Then there is a Midjourney announcement page, and if you scroll down that page, you'll come to where their video is, their demonstration. And lastly is my first MJ video, which is based on a 3D illustration I did back in 2013, a thing called The Dawn of the Battle. It involves a whole lot of different dinosaur models and different human figures riding them. Early dawn. When you watch this, you'll see, like in my first image, there's the feet. They're in very shallow water, and there's fog and all this. Well, when they put their foot in the water, in my visual, they're getting some little splashes about their feet. As this goes through the video, Midjourney continues to have their feet splash in the water, and all kinds of things are happening in that. They just keep adding more and more dinosaurs, and incredible what they were able to do. And early this morning, I did this, and when I came downstairs, went to Udio and created a little dramatic music track to add into it before we got started today. So that's all, very quick production of a 16-second video. Sandhu, you got some things you want to add before we get into talking to the people?
Yes, actually, still in the norm of news with Midjourney, they show the video. However, if you read the announcements which Dave Holtz made it um, on their website, but also on
Discord?
Discord, yes, that's where he said something very interesting. So everybody knows Midjourney because they made super cool AI images. Now everybody knows Midjourney because they do also super cool videos. But he shared his vision, and that is extremely important because his vision is actually to give the possibility to create in Midjourney entire worlds, basically 3D environments where you can emerge on it, and they want to do that live. That means as fast as you can. Of course, right now we see only the second part, basically the transition from images to video. But his main goal is actually to create environments in 3D as fast as you can, basically real-time environments. And to me, that is actually first time when I see somebody laying out what you can do actually with AI, and that's the future. We knew from the beginning that AI is going to have the 3D revolution. I'm talking about that since more than 2 years now, but that is the confirmation that hey, maybe we don't know, maybe in a year, maybe in 6 months, we'll see also something related to 3D. So basically, image journey, same as you can create a video right now, highly possible you can be able to extract a mesh maybe in Christmas time or 6 months, something like that. And after that, you will be able to create the environment same as you do it right now in a game engine, which also the game engines are free, but just chew on that. Let me think about what the possibilities, because that's the future. So that is what I want to add. More surprises will come from Midjourney. Stay tuned, right?
Yeah, and the other thing I think is really impressive is the amount of control that they're giving us of being able to do the slower, subtle actions as well as the the faster actions and the fact that you can have it generated automatically, or you can go in and prompt, and everything's in 4-second sections. But mine is got 3 additions on it, so it's 16 seconds, and it's seamless. There's no flaw between the 4-second sections.
Yes, and Bigal, if we want to add on that as well, I'm not sure if you guys you have time to explore. Obviously, it's only on web. Everybody knows that. It's not on Discord. It's only on web. It's a trial. It's a test right now. You can do it. They said, yeah, we have bugs. You have those on the bottom right, the two groups. One which creates automatically fast and slow. The other one which you can modify the prompt, again, fast and slow. But when you open the prompt, you'll notice actually, like in Luma, you can add also images, at least as a start frame, and explore more that possibility as well, because you'll be surprised. Actually, it will be like Luma. It's a combination. I think they are working on that. Like any other refinements which Midjourney is doing, same like version 7. Evolve at least 4 or 5 times in the last 2 months. They updated, but they still call it version 7. Same will be with the video. They will upload it, but I'm almost sure you'll be able to do image references and you can create transitions. That's one thing. Second thing, remember, they release also patchwork. I will address this toward the end, but the patchwork is a way of creating a storyboard. And always I said, to me, patchwork is like a foundation for a video which is coming. And I'm just curious when Midjourney is going to link patchwork with the video. Basically, you create a sequence of images in patchwork, and after that, you can say, make me a video out of it.
Yeah, it's amazing. And when you think of where we were a year ago, last February, where we were getting all kinds of strange glitches in 6-second videos, to where we are now, it's just phenomenal. Well, let's get started talking to our various guests. I'd like to start with Brian Ross, because Brian is a new connection of mine actually this week. I was impressed, at his profile. Just thought, this is ideal. We just decided we were going to do this on education, and here was a new educator. So, Brian, glad to have you with us. Please introduce yourself, tell us some of your background, and also who are the people that you're teaching, and what kind of responses are you getting?
Sure. Hello, everyone. It's really interesting because I have a very non-traditional background. I was a business owner of an appliance business, and then became an ESL teacher, teaching English language learners from all over the world. And so I've really enjoyed that for probably about the last 12 or 13 years. And as things have evolved with, the pandemic, we moved online, so I got that experience. And then now being in the classroom again has really given me an opportunity to start to test things out. We learned a lot during the pandemic about how we can use technology to benefit not only ourselves as educators, but more importantly, our students. So lately, we have been working with trying to help them get ready for what we call IELTS exams or TOEFL exams. So they're state tests, national tests that they have to take, and they have to do a lot of writing. So we've been using that in helping them to learn how to use it as kind of like a co-pilot or a helper instead of writing the whole thing. So that was an adjustment of trying to get them there to do your work. It's there to help you out. So once they got that and understood it, we were able to use that to improve their writing. And so not only did it improve their writing, but it allowed them to learn how to actually write based on examples that came up. And so recently, just within the last week or so, we've started using Suno AI, which that was shared with me by Pravin Kaipa, and we wrote a song. And so it gave me the idea. They have a lack of motivation sometimes because English language is so difficult. So we were able to use that in the classroom. And so I said, hey, I'm going to write a song for them to motivate them. And so we did that, and their reaction to it was just amazing. They were so emotional about it. They were really surprised at how, you could use it to be that creative because we had only really been using it for writing. So they've been enjoying it, learning a lot, and just really seeing that it is a tool, not the actual thing that we use to do our work for us. So it's been really enjoyable just to see their reactions and bring humanity to what they're doing and what they're creating.
What's the age group that you're working with?
So my age group is between 17 and 30, so young adults to middle age. And so I've had older ones, but that's predominantly the age group.
Okay, terrific. Well, let's go from Brian Ross to Brian Sykes. Brian, you've been taking on a new venture, and I'd like you to tell us about that as well as anything else you want to tell us about.
Sure. So, the whole transition of jumping into AI back in 2022, this has been kind of like figuring out where I'm going to actually land. So, there's a lot of things that are happening in the marketplace. And where I started and kind of really where my focus has been is helping creative professionals understand and utilize generative AI in their creative workflow. And my focus in that space has gotten a lot more fine-tuned. And this is one of the things I've discovered. I've reached out to thousands of creative directors and people in that space to see what's happening. And one of the things that you run across is every agency has their own workflows. They have the different tools that they work with on a base level, from Photoshop, Illustrator, etc., to Figma, to whatever, however they do their stuff. And I was reading the book Atomic Habits, and great book if you haven't read it. But in the book Atomic Habits, he talks about if you want to get somebody to actually implement a new process, you have to attach it to what they're already doing. So I took that as my framework for how I teach creative professionals now. As I go in, I learn how they do their existing work. I understand their workflows, and then I show them how to integrate AI into that workflow. But also, different applications, different companies have locks on certain software. So some companies are basically, we only do Adobe. We're not going to allow Midjourney or anything else yet. So I can come in and I can show them, okay, here's how to get the best out of Adobe working with Firefly and Photoshop, Generative Fill, and Illustrator and Premiere and those tools. So it's kind of figuring out how to integrate all the different tools based off of the platforms that they're restricted to and how they're currently working. Because you can teach somebody something that's really cool, and if it doesn't fit into where it makes sense, they basically go, "That's cool," and they stick it on the shelf, and that's where it sits. So that's been my focus. Something that I'm doing with Terry, this is going to be a lot of fun, is we're doing a mastermind for photographers. And so Terry Campbell is an amazing photographer, and he is up there at the same age group that I am. And so we've been talking about the whole change of AI and how it's affecting photographers. And in our generation, we've watched, film-based cameras then move to digital and then full desktop publishing interface where you're doing all your stuff with Lightroom and Photoshop, where we went from creating images primarily for print to now primarily for digital. And so like this whole transition, it keeps moving. So we're dealing with a lot of photographers who are kind of stuck. They don't know what to do next. Are they losing a job? What's happening in this space? How do they now contend with a marketplace that's like, well, I can generate that with Midjourney. Why would I hire you? So helping them to understand that they're not the tool, they're the knowledge, and they're the vision, and they're the image creators. And so helping them to understand how to utilize these new tools to carry out that vision is kind of the key focus behind the AI Lab Photo Mastermind. And we've actually got some good feedback already as we're kind of getting started with this thing. I'm excited to be fully kicking it off.
We talked about photography a while back, and one of my favorite photographers on LinkedIn is Alessandro Romiti. who I love to say his name. It sounds like
Great name.
a romance novel name, Alessandro Romiti. And anyway, he does phenomenal food photography with AI, you know. And now the first thing he did this week was a Midjourney video with pouring chocolate on top of a cupcake or whatever. And I think he's a wonderful example of somebody that you can, point to that just really has embraced the medium and is doing fantastic stuff.
Yeah, I think it's just a matter of, like, all of us, you either kind of jumped on the end of this thing and it's like you took the time to play and experience it, or you're watching it happen outside of you. And when you see something happening that you're not keeping your finger on the pulse of, it's scary, especially when it feels threatening. And so I think this is where we're seeing the entire creative industry now is either they're on extremes of this thing, and it's really hard to find middle ground to kind of go, okay, it's here. Now we got to figure out how do we ride this dinosaur that's full motion running, and like your video you were showing at the very beginning, Al. We got to figure out how to engage with this thing.
Yeah, I have taught 4 different ad agency creative departments how to use Midjourney and the Firefly capabilities in Photoshop. And I too run into this situation with agencies that say, "Oh, well, our lawyers don't want us to use anything except, Shutterstock or
Right.
Getty or Adobe."
Miguel, probably will be good to run the movie to see it because it was before recording.
What's that, Sandu?
It will be good to run that movie, which you did. Your first movie was Midjourney, so people which are listening and watching the video after the event can see it.
Okay, we'll do that in a second. Then the thing that I have been able to do is to explain to agencies that they can copyright this stuff as long as we make any kind of human changes to it. And I explained to them that I have never done anything for any client where I haven't had to make some sort of a modification to it. And sometimes it's a whole lot of modifications. Well, I just finished a project for an agency where I basically everything in the image was created by Midjourney as the background and everything. There were elements that they wanted in there that I created in Photoshop. And then the only thing that was going to be a stock photo was this person who was pushing against a large D. And as it turns out, they bought, one of the 3 images that I created. And now there are 8 more images that have to be produced, but they want the same people in these different 8 images, either this black woman or this white guy. And so I can't use the stock images of these people. So I'm creating the characters now in AI, and I've convinced them to convince their lawyers that it is okay to use Midjourney, Yeah. So it is a fascinating thing. Okay, Sandal, I will take and show this video since we've been talking about it, and then we'll continue on with other people. Let me share my screen. Now I'll do it one more time here. The flaws between the right side are in the original image like we did So,
We couldn't hear what you were saying while the video was playing.
oh, I was saying that the flaws that are in the image over on the right side, I didn't see them. They were in the original image that I put in, and I was doing it on my iPhone this morning, and so I didn't notice that. But I didn't have time to go back in and do it over again after I removed those glitches. You know, this fascinating stuff really is, and the amount of detail that they're able to handle in that and everything is terrific.
I particularly love the sun glare.
Oh yeah, well that is, you know, again, this was one of the first images that I created that Lazar's put in their 200 Best Digital Artists Annual back in 2013, which was actually their first year of doing these 200 best annuals. I had that and one other dinosaur one, which is a Tyrannosaurus Rex going after another dinosaur trapped in a canyon, and we'll just see what it does with that. But I love the fact that you don't have to have a Mid-Journey image to start with. You know, you can use these any source you want. So I would think, for example, I could include one of my family photos of my uh, wife and I with our 6 sons, 4 daughter-in-laws, 3 girlfriends, and 13 grandkids all in one picture, and see what I could do to get the gang to do something like make a silly face or something, in the picture. Yeah, I mean, any kind of source is terrific. Dr. Ross, always wonderful to have you with us. Why don't you, for the people that are not familiar with you, give us a little bit of introduction to yourself and tell us what you've been doing with AI.
Sure thing, and I'll jump back on camera in a minute here. Let me get in a good location. But I'm Dr. Ross. Thank you for inviting me, Big Al. I am a neurotrauma endocrinologist, a long fancy word of saying I study the brain and damage to the brain over the life cycle and use reproductive hormones to improve neurogenesis, which is recovery of new brain tissue, and decrease apoptosis, which is the death of brain cells. I'm a STEM educator, STEM stream, science, technology, engineering, math. When you add arts and research, you have the stream. So I'm in College Park on a mission to bring the college back to College Park by building a BCI, brain computer interface laboratory in the hood, right by the airport. With that being said, yes, I'm a neuro guy and I'm a little spacey. So all of this AI stuff is right up the alley. And I put a couple links in there for some of the technologies and partnerships that I have that we work in this space of using AI technology to teach not only higher education, but K through 12 as well. And neurobiology, but also just health and wellness and all of the sciences. So yeah, that's a little bit about me. We got a summer camp going with engineers, some inspiring engineers, and we are using actually these kids will be learning to use PicGen. So Michael Ufer, who's going to be speaking, his technology to create their story. They just had Sandhu's, who's also on here as well. We just went through book 2 that just came out, and so just ordered book 1 and book 2 for them, and of Azimuth, right? And they Sandhu invited them to be a part of the book 3, which is pretty cool when we go on exploration. So I think I'll just cut like there unless you guys have any questions, but that's a little just about me.
Well, I would like it if you would put those 2 posts in the comment section of the event, because once we stop this video, those things will be gone from here. So the people
Will
that are
do.
here will be able to get them, but the people that are coming back to the event, it'd be nice if you put those there. So tell us a little bit more about, what the subjects are that you're
Yeah.
teaching.
Yes. So I teach neuroscience, neuroanatomy, neurosurgery. So basically anatomy and surgery. And so I included a couple of the technologies that we use, like global anatomics, right? We have, so these are cadavers, right? We have the only cadavers in the world that don't use formaldehyde for preservative, and these cadavers are flexible. So it's a whole new different type of teaching we're bringing to biomedical education because you don't have that eventual carcinogenic issue that you have with formalin and formaldehyde, so embalming fluid. So that's really cool with global anatomics. And then we have SciGlass, which uses Brightview, which is a proprietary staining technique that we can look at micro vessels now. So we can look down to the very smallest blood vesicles, right, on a micro level with this staining. And so we use that within inside of these cadavers that I spoke about. And then we can basically reconstruct in 3 dimension, and that's what we do with SciGlass. We reconstruct the whole body and brain, and now the students can, in VR, go through, in, and around the brain, bone, tissue, fat, muscle, everything from end to end.
Yeah, Dr. Ross, we should say that yesterday during my event, we actually present SciGlass and we go in depth, but it's good to explain also the feedback from the kids and people which are using AI, because that is also impressive as well.
Absolutely. And I think that's where the next thing come in, which is one of Sandhu's favorite, which is the neuro. So we have also a partnership with a company that has an EEG, non-invasive EEG brain reader. And we're using that now in the classrooms with the students for, again, to help them with their work, but also just understanding yourself, your temperament. You can basically stimulate your brain or you can calm your brain down. They have brain games on it. You can control characters on the game with your brain. So we're working in a developmental space with that and gamification. And then all of the things that I just said, we have Eddie for Teachers, which is another partnership, but this is how we use AI to actually you use AI to create lesson plans. So it's a really cool technology. And Terrence Tan over there, I'm actually going to be meeting with him in an hour. But we use that technology where teachers can take their content and put it basically go into this technology and you ask very simple questions and it'll outline the actual lesson for you with teacher instructions, with images and everything like that. But it's also incorporated about 30 different types of AI technologies in there that the students can choose. So if you want to learn about VR or metaverse or AI, you have so many different things you can choose from to learn about that subject, and the students get to choose what technology they're using to learn that subject.
That's great. Dr. Una?
No, that's not Dr. Uona's, but
Yes,
yes.
it is.
Oh, there she goes. Oh,
I know it's been a while. It's been so long. I don't even think I remember how to. I didn't even know that you guys had moved to a different format and we're no longer doing LinkedIn Live and you're now on Zoom. You've graduated. But it's good to be here with all of you. I mean, the stuff that's going on is amazing. And I wanted to jump in here because just by way of the introduction for those who don't know me. So I am a data scientist in the realm of AI and machine learning, and specifically focused on the application of education, AI to education, which is a whole ballgame in itself. But I so in the past, Sandhu and Al would know that I've shied away from the image generation, video generation because I did not like Midjourney. I say that very softly. Um, it was just, I don't know, too complicated, all this with the Discord and blah blah. I forgot about that. But so I stuck to text generation, just minor image generation here and there. But I have to tell you now that well, OpenAI first launched their model that could now generate images very easily. Of course, it's not the quality of images that that you guys, like professionals, generate. But it's good for me because it's so good for illustrations and diagrams and those kinds of simplification. And then last week or 2 weeks ago, Google came out with their VO3 in Flow, and oh my God, I tell you, I am like a kid in a candy store. I don't know if you all see my LinkedIn. I am churning out videos like crazy. So I was just curious to hear how those of you who are in the been in the image generation and all of the arts and the fine arts and graphics and stuff. I don't know if you don't even consider what OpenAI is doing as image generation because it's a very it's a different technique that they're using. Um, but I feel like it has democratized. I know that's an overused word. The whole idea of image generation and video generation, right? Because in the past, I never would have thought of generating videos on my own. But now I'm generating videos for almost everything. I mean, my last thing was I jumped on the baby avatar trend and I created a baby avatar of myself. And this baby avatar is teaching the fundamentals of statistics and people are loving it because it's a baby. So, and I was just curious as to how you guys, the professionals of image, video, blah, blah, is concerned. What do you think about those new tools? Do you think it's like, it's okay, but it's not going to challenge or affect our market share in any way? Or is there going to be some kind of case where now Midjourney is going to probably have to make themselves more like, say, the VO or some of the other AI or image generation, video generation tools out there? I really want to. Oh, and besides that question, park that. What Dr. Ras just described, what you guys, Sandra, are doing, that is amazing. My mind is blown, but that's a whole nother topic for another day. Because my background, even though I'm a statistician, my undergraduate was biochemistry and neuroscience. And so, yeah, I did all the stiff, dead, formaldehyde-ridden cadavers dissection, which we hated, but but kudos to you. But question. What do you guys feel about these new image generation tools or video generation, text to video
I'd like
things?
to pose that question to Glenn, Eric, or Chad, or all three of you. What's your opinions about that? Yeah, go ahead, Eric.
I'll just quickly chime in. I haven't used many, but I know each one is good for its own purpose. VO is great for realistic, and I think there's an image video generator for Higgs field, and I understand they understand physics really well. So it really depends on the video that you're creating. I've seen amazing videos that are being done online, and a lot of creators use a number of different video generators to create their videos. It just depends on what's particularly needed in that particular scene, and they would use that particular image or video generator to achieve that. So I think a lot of people are open to using more than one. That's my understanding so far.
Yeah. Glenn, you got thoughts?
Hey, Big Al. Yeah, I echo what Eric is saying. I mean, I've been trying to testing them, and like Eric had said, I think they all have slightly different purposes and different. They do some things better than others for different scenes and execution. So I think that's the beauty of it. You don't have to be stuck with one. You can move around and use what you need. I think it's like another tool, right, Al? You know what I mean? It's just another one. And if there's 20 more that come out, there'll be 20 more tools to use when necessary. I mean, perhaps one will rise above, or two or three will rise above, and everything else may fall away. But I guess time will tell.
Yeah, actually, if I can add something to the other awesome things about AI, it's actually the fact that you have so many choices, which is pure democracy. That means you have whatever you want. That means you can choose it. But from cost point of view, because it looks like we're leading toward that as well. I like, for instance, that Midjourney included the video, because in the cost, which we already pay for having the images, you have a video platform. If you were to use an external one, whatever it's going to be, Huyang, Kling, Hasfield, Runway, whatever, right? Vio, or even Sora, which is $200 per month. But you have that choice. And I see right now the video being actually with Midjourney probably the lowest cost as a package. Of course, you can use like Microforce. I think PicGen probably still is the lowest. If you really want to have and learn, I think that's an option as well. But that is actually is quite interesting, because I always said people in general, from my experience and what I'm seeing all around, obviously they prefer open source if it's like a pay item, in the sense that the platforms which you pay for, they already debug the whole thing. You don't need to learn it. It's like, okay, you took it and you learn it and you apply it and boom, you got the image. That's actually the advantage. But if you really want to be like zero cost, obviously you can use ConfUI and all that stuff, and that covers 3D, video, images, and so on. However, you need to have that hassle of learning the platform. So that is interesting. I think in the future that is what we want to see. And back to what I said initially with Midjourney as a vision, I really like to see the visions of the other platforms. What's the vision for OpenAI? What's the visions for Google? What's the visions from even Microsoft, of big names? Because they did not share the vision, and that's the reason I really like Midjourney. They actually put, that's our vision, is going to happen in a year, 2 years, 5 years, doesn't matter, but at least they have a goal. So we can explore that as well. I think it's an interesting.
Sandu, why don't we approach them and why don't we go ask them for their vision? And we get that. And we put it all together and say, like, these companies, this is their vision in the ecosystem.
Yes, because again, AI also has got all the finance on the back. And now if you're looking what's happening in the world, obviously there are various ways of making money fast. However, that's not the point. The point is actually the creativity for the people. Right now, we put it in their hands. That means all of us, 5 years ago, we were not able to do what we do today. Even this community got creative because all we love AI. But what is interesting is how the things evolve. The fact right now is every AI platform, typically it's using their users to create the product, and I'm not sure if they also influence the vision for the platforms. But it's clearly most of AI, they are using the user for alpha, beta, and also testing. And I think they create the vision after. The biggest difference which I see, and kind of maybe OpenAI also, they have a vision. That's probably true as well. But Midjourney come with, and they did it 2 years ago. They come with a vision for 5 years for AI, and that is interesting because they knew what they want. All the others, they just follow the market and just look like, oh, I can be better than this. I can copy that super database and making one AI to look bad or whatever. Like that's happened. We know all those databases, they are moving around. You've heard about what's happening in China with RAND and all the other platforms which they try to say, hey, we are better than OpenAI. But the point is still for the user, they have the capability, they have in their hands the tools, but are those the right tools? All of us, we complain, it's not really the tool which I want. And always we told them we want this. However, the platform is doing whatever is good for them, and they are trying actually to kind of present their advantages with the videos which we are seeing. It's pure advertising. That's what I'm trying to say.
Can I make a comment? A quick comment? Can you hear me?
Yeah, go ahead.
Well, I mean, I think it's coming down to what happened in the late 80s, where Microsoft and Apple and a couple of other companies dominated. I mean, the amount of money involved in these GPU clusters is just tremendous. And you have to really raise tremendous amounts of money to keep these video platforms working. So somebody's going to drop out. Could be Runway, could be Luma, could be Pika, could be anybody. But eventually it's going to come down to Google and maybe Midjourney. If they don't get bought, they probably will get bought. And
By Disney.
Huh?
By Disney.
Yeah. Whoever
The
it
other
is.
way around, Mike, or the other way around, until they'll drag this trial.
Hey,
it
that
could be
might not be so bad if we get a Mid-Journey park down in Disney.
That's
Well,
true.
a possibility. But, that seems to be the pattern, and I don't think it's changing very much.
Yeah.
The
Dr. Ross?
democratization usually lasts for a while, and then eventually it consolidates. So
Yeah.
we're seeing that already. Yeah.
Dr. Ross, you had a comment?
Yeah, I had one, but I think I lost it with the comment that Mike just said. If it comes back, I'll raise my hand again.
Okay, well, I would like to suggest, Una, a couple of programs to you. One is 11 Labs.
Oh yeah, I have explored that.
Where you are able to, use an image of somebody and put any kind of voice on it.
Yes.
And the other one, which is a little bit more expensive, is Kling, where you can combine animating the character along with lip syncing. So whereas 11 Labs are going to be basically stationary and talking with little gestures and eye blinks and head nods and stuff. I think you can do a little bit more with Kling, but like I said, it's more expensive because you're being charged for every bit of video that you do. And I have found that you can use up the points very, very quickly. I will go ahead and I'll buy additional points just because of the fact that I'm doing what I'm doing and everything. But I mentioned a couple of times in previous events that a recent 6-minute video that I did, I spent over $300 on producing the thing because of the amount of, sometimes on Kling, I would run the particular scene like 9 times trying to get the right, version of it.
Yeah. I know about that.
Dr. Ross, do you think of what you were thinking of?
Yes, I did. I had a couple comments. I wanted to say we're in the era of death by subscription. I wanted to mention that Dr. Uona, DID. Do you know DID?
Yes,
Check them out. That's pretty cool.
Tried it.
But
It's expensive.
I want everyone to in this chat, anyone that creates images, you should and have to know about c2pa.org. I put them in the chat, but that is the content credential and provenance authenticity authority, right? So these guys set the standards in music and film industry. So this is everybody. Adobe's at the meeting, Microsoft, Sony, like all these people. I'm in meetings with them every week. And they just did a thing in New York. They invited 200 people from around the world to talk about the standards, again, in the industry for credentialing, provenance, and authenticity for images. So if you're a creator, there's something you want to know about and to be able to do this and integrate it as you're developing, right? Because you can integrate it into your development process as a stack. And now you will be covered in the future as we figure out the financial, the blockchain side of this, and your images and all those things are out there already. You'll have them already pre-credentials that you'll get paid once the system is in place.
Eric, go ahead. Eric had a comment, and then we'll come back to you.
Sure. Okay.
No, I just quickly wanted to share that most of you might already know this, but I just learned this this week that you can actually earn extra fast hours for free on Midjourney by going to the task section in the on the website, and in the task section there are a events and rankings and various different things that if you participate, you can earn free fast hours. So it just helps keep some of the costs down. So I just wanted to share that if anyone didn't know about that.
Okay. Una, you got your sound on?
Yeah, I turned it off. Yeah, so all very interesting. Of course, every day there's stuff to learn about this. But something that Sandu was saying, as I'm always fast interested in what Sandu has to say because him and I we have this little thing where he is always trying to get me to maybe try Midjourney or one of these others fancy things, which I resist with everything. And I will tell you that I'm not alone, right? Because a lot of people tried or ventured into my journey and then backed out. And I tell you why. For me, I got to do a little something, but then when I really wanted to explore the tool, I remember I had put an image of myself in there and I asked, I was trying to get me dressed up as one of the female soldiers in Black Panther movie. That's the whole nother story. And I couldn't get it. It kept changing everything. And then of course, working with Darren, he's a master of Midjourney. But when I saw all that he had to do, I was like, forget it. So I just used some of the other tools. And then now with VO and some of the others, they have simplified it so much that you can go from prompt to video, and that is like so much easier. And that's the main thing that I'm trying to figure out if people are going to switch, I don't know, from Midjourney to VO or some other tool. And you were talking about their vision, right? And you stated you knew what Midjourney's vision is, and I felt and others that Midjourney was very how should I say, selective, cliquish, not in a negative way. Like it is a tool designed for a very specific group of people. That's how I felt. Like for the artist and the graphic artist and the architect and those people who really do the real high-end imagery for the companies and so on. But for educators and others like myself, I felt like that's not for us. And so the other tools are now coming out. So as far as the vision is concerned, I don't know what the visions are for these various companies, but I do know that Google, and this is something that you and Dr. Ross would want to like look into, Google is offering a free membership for educators to their top model, like, the $200 membership, whatever. They're waiving it for educators, and for students, I think, as well. So there's that. So that's one thing. And then, of course, a lot of the content creators, right? So these are people who, one person company, and they want to make their own videos and their own, images and all that. And so they're the ones that are getting to, because I always felt like Midjourney had a very steep learning curve, and that deterred a lot of people. And I felt like that's what they wanted, to keep it keep it select, and so they can really hone in and focus on that group of people and address that. But as far as the vision is concerned, you're talking about which company is going to like eventually survive. I mean, nobody is going to beat Google as far as the resources available right now, right? Of course, Disney is now suing for their images and blah, blah, blah. But when it comes to data, video, image, text, I mean, Google has a monopoly on that. So there's that. I don't know what Midjourney's resources are available for as far as how long the company can last or whether they will eventually be bought out or something. But just some of my ramblings on the whole idea.
They made 300 million last year, and they're expected to make 500 million this year. So, Brian, I'd like your comment, and then we're going to move to Michael Ufford because he's going to tell us about the educational programs he's involved with.
Okay. Yeah, just really briefly, I wanted to comment on Dr. Deason there because I agree as well as an educator that Midjourney was just always something that I couldn't access, I guess, because it was so time intensive just trying to get in there. And then when I was using it, you had to go through Discord and do all of that. So I was like, I don't have time for this. I got lesson plans to do. I've got all of this stuff to do. But I think that brings up the bigger issue of how do we make that accessible to educators and others. So based on what their vision is, which I'm going to dig into as soon as we're done here, because I really want to know. It sounds like that's a space where we've got to jump in and just figure it out because it's such a great tool. But, the time consuming aspect of it, I think, is on a lot of people's minds as well.
And there's always Brian Sykes to turn to get some really good education. So, I will mention that. Michael, tell us what you're doing in terms of educational stuff.
Yeah, you need to enable the sharing for me, please.
Yeah, okay, I'm sorry.
Yeah, so last fall we
There you go.
developed a curriculum for teaching AI to high school students, and we used PicGen as the sort of lab for it. So it's tied into PicGen. It's a course, it's kind of a self-guiding course, and there are various areas where we refer to PicGen. And Joy Womble helped us out, who's been on these conferences here and there. And I'll just show you a quick. So basically, it's courseware. It's hosted on a platform called IsEasy, and this is a quick PDF of what it does. It takes the student through definitions and examples, different scenarios, and talks about careers and PicGen itself, and shows you how to generate prompts and how to use PicGen. So if you look at the link in the chat in the event, you can download this guide and then it will take you to a page. And if you're interested in working with us, we offer some free startup, and you can make it so that students in your cohort have access to it, and they have access to PicGen on a trial basis. So you sign up once, and you can then enroll up to 10 students for I think it's a 2-month period. And then if you are happy with the results, you can buy a subscription for your cohort or individual.
It looks terrific, Michael. Just for
cool.
Just for people that are not completely familiar with your platform, tell them about the different programs you have in it.
So PicGen is a platform. We've been out for about 2.5 years. We allow people to explore different AI tools within the platform, different models, Midjourney, still only at this point, Stability, OpenAI, and Flux. And then we also have capability of storing your results, reusing things, and AI-guided prompting. So it makes it simpler to generate a prompt. You don't have to write all the description. You just give it a general idea, and then we use AI to help you generate a richer prompt.
I would own that this is a terrific platform.
I'm looking for the link right now.
Yeah, it's a terrific platform because of the fact that you have all of these different programs. You can actually work in like 3 different AI programs at the same time based on the one prompt to see what results you get.
Actually, 4.
4? No? Okay.
And now we've added custom models. So you can build your own model, which we're just putting out next week. You can build your own model. You give it up to 20 images and you say, build me a model. It goes through, it looks and finds a caption for each of the images. And then you say, give it a name, and then you can use that model to generate things. So if you have a cohort of students or a style that you want to replicate easily, you can take the images of that style, put it in our model builder, and then build a model, and then use that model, and you can see directly what the results of that model are compared to, let's say, Midjourney or uh, Basic Flux or some of the other things that we support.
And for you, I think the idea of being able to get the program to help you to write a prompt, based on put in a simple input of the kind of idea you have in mind, and then the program will give you a better prompt, I think will be very helpful for you.
Yeah, I think your difficulty or resistance with Midjourney, I had a lot of it too, is that it's got so many hidden parameters
Yeah,
that keep popping up in your face as you're trying to use it,
exactly.
and you don't even know what the heck they are. So
Right.
we try to make that simple as well. So one of the things that Midjourney came out with maybe 6 months or a year ago was to use an image and use that image as a way to influence the result. They call it S SREF, and then they have another thing called CREF. CREF is a character. So we abstract that, and we give you a list of characters, and we give you a list of image styles, and you just pick one, and we put it in for you. We hide all that SREF, CREF, and we also make it so it works in other models at the same time. So the thing about still images and videos as well now is that it's all about the style. It's not really that much in the prompt anymore. It's about all the other aspects of the image generation that really influence how the image comes out. And it's a much easier way to work and a much more consistent way to work than to, play around with a particular style and modify it. No, I don't like it that way. I want the guy to be a little more this, the guy to look a little more like this, and so on, which is really very difficult for most people to
Yeah.
come up with. And also all these looks. Everybody's doing looks. I mean, I look at the Kelly Bosch, very good video artist, and she posts all over the place. And she's got a look. This is her look, and she takes this look and she puts it out there in so many different videos, and it's all because she understands how to fashion a look, and then to apply that look in different situations. I don't know Kelly. I never met her.
Michael, if you could stop sharing your screen now, but also I'm calling your attention to the comments section because there's a number of comments that are addressed to you.
Yeah, I looked on the page for the event and I don't see the link to the course, Michael. So you.
Just click the image there.
All right, thank you.
Anyways, Michael, look at the comment sections, okay? Because there's a number of things there for you. Well, I think this is something that we could continue talking about, and we try to talk about education every once in a while. But the thing is that, as is evidenced, in our discussion today, things are always changing, and there's more and more things happening, and more capabilities. That's why we need to go over this stuff, periodically.
Yeah.
So I would like to mention that next week, Harriet Moser is in Switzerland. Very interesting, quirky mind. That's why I invited her to come on. And she comes up with some very interesting images, and And so she's going to be presenting her work next week. Sandhu, anything you want to add before we stop recording?
Well, I guess Geiger, HR Geiger, the guy who invented aliens, the graphic guy, I think it was from Switzerland as well. but no, this 2025, we always said it's the year of the videos. I think it's amazing how many options we have, many platforms, and also helps a lot with creativity. I intended to say a few words about the prompt, but kind of Michael, I think he said it's not too much about the prompt in the videos right now. It's actually minimal prompting. You just need to say what you want to see. And actually, Big Al, it's a question for you. When you did your first video with Midjourney, how complex was your prompt?
It was very simple.
Yes.
All I did was write a description of what it was that there were warriors riding on dinosaurs getting ready to do battle. And then each of the generations of additional 4 seconds was automatic. I didn't prompt anything further. Every addition was done automatically by the program.
Yeah.
Frankly, I think I could have just run it without even writing a prompt, and based on the image, it would have done what it's done.
Yes, this is kind of what I see. It's like Sandhu's vision, tied also my discussion with Dr. Ross. I think with neural band, BCI, brain-computer interface, I don't think we're going to prompt it anymore. I think we just think about it, and we're going to create videos, 3D environments, and stuff like that. I think that is coming.
Sandhu, we got a meeting with NeuroArt. These guys are already doing this in the hospital. I'll talk to you about it.
Exactly what I thought. Yeah, that's the future, guys. That is open the eyes of the mind, because we are already there.
My friend Arthur, I'm so sorry you're joining us as we're concluding. We start at noon Eastern Daylight Savings Time, and you're coming in an hour late. But well worth watching the video. And as soon as I stop recording, I will be preparing a video. I'll do some editing, and then I will post that in the comment section. Delighted to see you joining us, but always terrific. And guys, this was a terrific session, and I really hope that people will take a look at the video, because this is well worth watching. So again, thank you everybody for coming today, and really appreciate everything and all the contributions to it. And I'm going to stop the recording now.